Hey, family, welcome back to Layers of Her, the space where we go beyond the surface and into the layers of faith, identity, and legacy. I am your host, Tomasa, and today's conversation is one that I truly believe will minister deeply to many of you. I have the honor of welcoming someone I've known since high school. I have Breanne Stewart, who is a wife, a mother, a senior pastor, a prophetic voice, an award-winning coach, and the visionary behind Elevate Her Network. And in this episode, we're going to pull back the layers of leadership, obedience, and legacy, and what it really looks like when God calls you to close a chapter that once carried your name. So I'm excited. This is the Crowned and Called series, and we're going to get straight into it. Brian, let's peel back the first layer. And I want to kind of go back to the beginning, the early purpose and the formation. And you've been walking in leadership for years,
Mm.
over a decade, right? Like over 10 years.
Yeah, it's going on about 15.
15 years. So long before there were formal titles
Mhm.
and before you started walking as a pastor, as an
Yeah.
ordained minister, what were some of the first moments where you realized, even as a young girl, that you were wired differently and that you carried something that the Lord wanted to birth through you?
Well, ever since a little girl, I knew that I was wired differently, that I was set apart. But as I got older, I started evangelizing. I started,
Mm.
discipling my peers in elementary school, middle school, high school, just spreading the good news in a way, in a friendship way, in a way where I'm like, do you know Jesus? Do you know him as your Lord and personal Savior, Jesus Christ? And a lot of people will bully me. A lot of people could not understand me. I was treated really bad in school, which led me into some depression, led me to some anxiety, a lot of counseling growing up, and then also going into my early adulthood, just dating the wrong people, just wanting to feel love, wanting to be accepted. So, just long story short, I literally ran from the call. At the beginning, I was in, but as I got older and started being rejected and
Mm.
thought I was weird, I started running, but I've learned that leadership is not just about titles. It's
Yes.
about seasons. It's about sacrifice.
Mm.
It's about humbleness. It's about what are you willing to give up,
Yeah.
to follow him. And so I was never the ideal candidate according to man. I'm a woman. I'm a black
Come on.
woman. Okay. I'm be honest, this is real. I had my first child out of wedlock. I'm just being honest. I didn't fit into this narrative. Okay.
Yeah.
And then I came from a broken family, a broken home, a lot of abuse and misuse there. And that's why I said I'm wired different because society would say, you're not qualified. But God
Come on.
says that you have been called. I knew
Come on.
you before I
Yeah.
formed you into your mother's womb. I knew you. I set you apart. And so I had to hold on to that. And I had to realize that my story is not everyone's story. And when God called me, it wasn't a conference call. And so I have to realize that God is the person that I have to please. And it does not matter how I got here. The truth of the matter is, I'm here. So I hope that answers a little bit.
I love that. I love that. Like you said, the pedigree almost it reminded me of the story of David,
Mhm.
where it's like I was in the field tending to what God had told me to do over here, and he's
Yes,
like, "Yeah, but I'm calling you to the
yes.
palace," and you're like, "Well, wait a minute."
You sure you don't want so and so? And that's how it was when God came. When the prophet came and they were asking, what other son, do you have? Like everyone was
Hmm.
presented. That's how it was, I feel like, in church. So what you said is accurate. And I would just always find an excuse, just like a human,
Mm.
us humans,
Yeah.
always find an excuse of why I can't go, Lord. I
Hmm.
can't go, Lord, because I'm not ready. I can't go, Lord, because I don't know enough.
Yeah.
I'm young. There's people that have been doing this 50, 60 plus years. Why do you want me to build this church? Other people, they get hired. The church
Yeah.
already built. Okay?
Come
Church
on.
already, why I gotta go through all the planting and like, why
The
couldn't it be
ground up.
easier? And when I was ordained, oh my goodness, I had so many offers like, come and be a pastor here, come and be youth pastor here. And it was so tempting, sis, because I'm like,
Mm.
I'm still doing what you asked me to do.
Right.
But it's no heavy lifting involved. And God said, no, no, that's not what I said. And even where I was at my current church, I was the youth pastor there. And I was good. I was
Yeah.
totally good. I was happy. I was
Yeah.
happy. My family was happy. I was preaching here and there. It wasn't on a consistent basis. I was like, yes, Lord, this is it.
Yeah.
And God said, yeah, I called you to be a pastor and prophet, but not like that.
Mm-mm.
You as humans, we want to pick and choose what God
Right.
says. We want to choose oh, I heard pastor. So that means I'm a youth pastor.
Come on.
No, we want to pick and choose what he told us. And that's what I did for so long. I wanted to pick and choose the parts that I wanted, but it wasn't what God wanted for me to do.
My God. So you said a lot there, and I want to go back to just the early parts. What would you say for the woman that's leading in a hidden place in her home, at work, behind the scenes? What would you say to her, especially in those early stages when they know there's purpose, they're carrying something, but it's not visible to the outside world yet, or maybe it's not acknowledged by the
Mhm.
outside world yet because of what it looks like in their current season right now?
That's a good question. I would say to the woman that's listening that your private faithfulness is not
Mm.
wasted. And God is shaping your influence right now, even if you don't understand it, even if you fully can't see it. Even when no one's watching, He's watching. And so you have to wait until the right time and just to be patient with yourself and mostly be patient with God because He loves us too much to give us too much at the same time.
Ooh, that's
And
good.
so you have to know that, whatever bits and pieces of the vision or his word or his promises, just take them bit by bit. I used to tell God, I want the whole thing, God. Just tell me right now what you want. And that's not how he works because he doesn't want to overwhelm us. He doesn't want us to literally just be like, you know what? I'm done. He knows what he's doing, just like a good father. So he wants to give you piece by piece. So, yes, don't believe that this time as you are hidden, that he's not working.
Mm,
So your
that's good.
private faithfulness is not wasted.
I love that. And I want to go into now, like, being built to last. Cause, like we said, you've been doing this for 15 years, almost 15 years at this point.
Mhm.
So, over the years, you've built ministries, movements, and platforms. And I want to talk about the cost behind what people are celebrating now, what they're
Ooh.
experiencing now in the conferences and even the network that you're producing, the mentorships. What does it really take to build something that lasts? Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
I'm just reminded of what my grandmother used to tell me. You have to build it on Christ or it won't last. It will crumble.
Mm,
And I would say that I've lost a lot. I know a lot of people they see all these wins and they seem like all these things are happening overnight. And that's what it seems like. But behind the veil, you will see cancer diagnosis. You will see my health fail with being anemic, high risk pregnancies of my placenta being detached from the uterine wall, car accidents. Even when I was born, my mom said that the umbilical cord was wrapped around my neck and I was lifeless. It just attack after attack after attack. And I always tell my leaders, I tell my mentees, do not coven, do not idolize me, do not put me on no pedestal. I bleed just like you bleed and you don't want the watershed that I had to go. So when they say, "Oh, I want a ministry like Prophet Breanne," or "I wanna build like her,"
come on.
no, 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 you don't know what had to die, you don't know what I had to let go, you don't know what hell waters I had to swim through, you don't
Come on.
know the
The call.
things that I had to endure to stand
Yeah.
where I stand today. You don't know what the betrayal, the backstabbing, the lies, the gossip, the snakes, you don't know all the friendships that said, I love you, sis, and turn around and act like they didn't know me because it wasn't popular to support me anymore. The same people that said, I knew you are a prophet, but then when God affirmed me as a prophet, no, she's not a prophet. And so I had to realize that there were people that were supporting me only when it was beneficial for them.
God.
And when it was no longer beneficial for them, when it got too bigger and got too greater, I don't know her. I don't know her. I don't understand her. I don't believe that she is called because it got bigger than anything. And
Wow.
sometimes when you are living right for Christ, it is supposed to be bigger than you. It's supposed to be
Right.
bigger than you. It's because it has nothing to do with you. It has everything
That's
to
it.
do with him. And so I
That's it.
friendships, I have lost cars, I have lost homes, I have lost mentors, even some family members. I've lost, things that I enjoy doing. God has removed certain things and urges and sin and other things from me. I've lost a lot. And so when you are in a place where you have outgrown, it is uncomfortable
Mm,
because as humans, we love what we love. And we
right.
want to be liked. We want to be accepted. That is our human nature. But
Nature.
it
That's it.
comes to a time where you have to look beyond that. And you have to say, for Christ I live and for Christ I die. And so I cannot bend to this world of other people's opinions and expectations. I must look to Christ. And that means if you live to Christ, that means you're going to disappoint a lot of people.
Whew.
You're going to disappoint, and you have to be willing to do that. At one point, I wasn't, and that's why I stayed in environments so long than what I was supposed to. Because I
Come on.
wanted to please people. As a little girl, I wanted to make people happy. That was something I wanted to do until it came to a point where I was suffocating.
Come. Ooh, this is good. I want you to talk about that a little bit because this is something for me that I've even had to learn because I have a heart for people. I have a heart for people just in general.
Mhm,
Um, and managing having a heart for people but still having the boundaries in place where you're moving with the Lord, God had to show me
mhm.
through trial and error. So can you talk about that a little bit? Because I feel like I rarely hear people talk about managing the love you have for people and the difference between loving people, becoming an idol to people,
Mm.
or trying to be God to other people because of your care. So talk about that part a little bit.
So I feel as the church, we have to do a better job of this control aspect. And when I
Hmm.
mean control, I'm talking about leaders.
Hmm.
And I was guilty of it at one point too, and I had to repent
Right.
because as leaders, as pastors, apostles, and prophets, we don't have any ownership over our members. And we are there to shepherd, we're there to love. Yes, we're there to hold accountable, but there's no ownership. And I feel like it is very easy to put someone on a pedestal that you love because
Hmm.
you please them and you want to support them because you see the vision. But what happens when you lose sight of what you're really doing it for and who you really are serving? Right. And sometimes that happens. I know that I was in a place of leadership. And at a point when it came to my leader, it was like I couldn't distinguish God's voice from my leader's voice anymore. And
Hmm.
that was scary for me, that I could not tell which one was separate because I had put this person on a
Hmm.
pedestal and I started idolizing this person as a god. And I
Hmm.
had to say, oh no, I can't do this because there is only one God, there's only one king, there is only one person that is the creator, right? And so
Right.
it does take healthy boundaries. And I tell my leadership all the time, please don't put me on a pedestal. Please listen, I'm going to fail you. I'm going to disappoint you. I'm going to say something sometimes that you may not like. Know that I have a good heart that's after Jesus, but I am flesh.
Yeah.
I am flesh, you are flesh, and we're in this together. So boundaries have to be in place. And you have to go to God and ask Him what those boundaries are. But
That's
there
so
should
good.
never, ever be a day where you can never distinguish between God's voice and your leader's voice. If that happens, you have a big problem and
Mm.
you were dealing with something that's called that I have put someone in God's chair. And that has to stop. That has to change. And I'm seeing it so much. I'm
Yeah.
seeing it so much. There are times where even my members at times, have came to me and I know that they love me. I know what they mean, but I will have to change their vocabulary. One
Right.
thing that one of my leaderships used to say to me is Prophet Brian's love is unmatched. No, no,
Yeah.
that's not right. I love you. I honor you. I know what you're trying to say, right? Yes, God made me He set me apart. I love you for that. But there is someone's love that's unmatched, and his name is Jesus Christ. And so
Come
I
on.
feel like as a leader, we just have to be able to listen, and we have to be able to not so get caught up with
Yeah.
this and that, and really, really come to the table and come to the grips to realize, wait a minute, are they idolizing me?
Right.
And what have I done? Here's the part. What have I done? Even unintentionally for them to come to me in this matter, right? And so we have to do some self-evaluation. I do it every day. I didn't used to. I do it every day. God, evaluate me. God, if
Mm,
I've done anything, said
right.
anything that's unpleasing to you, like,
Yeah.
expose it, right? And
Yeah.
we have to get in a culture within our church, in our ministries, where people are willingly to come to you and express their concerns and not feel like
That's
their
so good.
head is going to be chopped off. Like, we cannot take people's voices away from them. We cannot do that. No, we may not understand. Sometimes we may not comprehend, but we have to be able to know that just because someone is speaking truth and we don't understand it and we don't comprehend it does not mean it's not true for them. Just because
Right.
it's their perception, that doesn't mean that it's not valid. And we have to
Right.
learn to come to individuals on their level and meet them
Good.
where they are to be more understanding. And again, I haven't always been to this point. It took a lot. It took a lot of people leaving my ministry. It took a lot of people coming to me and saying, listen, what you're building is awesome. It's just, I don't have the capacity to build at this level. And even though
Mm.
it hurt me to see them go, let them go.
Mhm.
Let them go. And that's the thing. Like, people are going to come and people are going to go. We cannot hold people on
Yeah.
a tight leash and on a grip and say, no, you stay here. No, if you want to go and you believe that God has asked you to go, I love you. I'm
Mhm.
covering you, but you go where God is leading you to go. And the reason why I've come to a positioning like that, because I know how it feels to
Yeah.
leave a church when God is telling you to go and you don't want to go, but you're being obedient.
Beat it.
And
Right.
I
Yeah.
want to provide a culture that is obedient to that call, even if you don't like it.
Right.
Now, you can't control the members. People are going to feel, people are going to say, but you as a leader can lead by example and
Right.
say that I don't hate you, I don't despise you, I may not understand what is happening, but God bless you. We got to
Bless
stop
them when they leave. Yeah.
burning bridges, because you never know when someone has to
That's it.
come across that same bridge. You
Yeah.
never know, when you leave these organizations, you never know when God's going to send you back.
That's true. That's so
I
true.
never knew that I was going to be affirmed, okay, as a prophet in my childhood church. Who would have thought?
Right.
And so when I
Literally, who would have thought?
and so when I left that church, I did things in decency and order,
Yes. Yes.
because God knew, you're going to have to come back here, right?
Right. That's so good.
And so we got to learn how to do things. Yes, we're going to disappoint people. Yes, people are going to get mad when we leave, but still do things in decency, in order. Whoever's listening, you can't afford to treat them how they treated you.
That's so good.
You can't afford it. There were many times I wanted to clap back. There were many times I wanted to prove them wrong. And God said, no, no, no. Do what I've called you to do. I will vindicate you. I will show them through what you are doing, through your fruit. You don't have to worry about that. And you
That's
never
it.
want to address any type of shade for someone that does not even producing fruit.
Ooh, ooh, ooh.
And so you never do that. You cannot do that. If you know that someone is not producing fruit, why are you up here trying to convince them of your fruit? They're not on
Right.
that same level. And so we have to learn that, let God be your vindicator. Let God elevate you. Because when he does, ain't nobody can say cut. Ain't nobody can say stop.
That's it.
Ain't nobody can say, okay, that's enough. God gonna have you win and win and win. But you gotta do things in order. You gotta have things in place. You gotta have healthy boundaries. And you have to be willing,
Come on.
you have to love the sound of someone walking away from you that you have outgrown. You got to get to love that sound, Because when you learn to love that sound, you would know that God is working on you, that He's elevating you and that person.
Yeah.
And another thing before we transition, just because someone leaves your ministry does not mean that God's not covering them. Does not mean that God don't got a plan for them. And that's the thing we gotta understand. It's like, who do you think you are? That you are the only person that God can use for people. And sometimes we have to realize that it's not that someone did something wrong. It's not even about who's right and who's wrong. Sometimes it's just about the season. It's
Come
about that I
on.
have grown the season in this time, and God is calling me to another place under another leadership, and we have to be okay with that.
Yeah.
We don't have to like it, because trust me, I done cried a lot of tears. My goodness, when God started taking some people from House to Hope and for Elevate Her, my God, like, no, and God's like, it's all right because I got a plan for them. There were times where I got in my feelings. There were times where I'm like, God, why? But then I have to remember, you know what? Didn't God move me? Didn't He move me? Didn't He redirect me? Isn't God still covering me? Isn't God still blessing me that He's going to bless them? And everyone has their own individual journey. And
Yeah.
we should not be in that way of someone else's breakthrough, someone else's healing, someone else's deliverance. Who are we to stand against someone and say, no, God did not tell you that? God can speak to anybody
Yeah.
because God can speak to anyone. And
Come
so
on.
we have to get off these titles. I don't like titles. I really don't. I really, really don't. But God has called me to this chair, and I love where I am, but I don't get so much on that. I am Breanne at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And yes, I've been called, and yes, he has put some things in place, but we can never be above servant. We are first
Yeah.
servants of Christ. And when you
That's so
have that
good.
mentality, it's not hard to have healthy boundaries.
I'm going to just piggyback on what you just said there, because that's really where my heart is. He said, and
Yes.
just my observation of things I'm witnessing now within the church, especially amongst fivefold ministers and leaders. I would love to see us get back to the heart of servitude. And I feel like the heart of servitude would break some of this idolatry
Yes.
that we're seeing just run rampant in the church and with people, because the heart of anyone in an office is to point them back to Jesus Christ. It's never about us. It's never about the title. It's never about the office.
Mhm.
It's to minister Jesus through the position, because then it breaks competition, it breaks
Yes.
comparison, it breaks all of these different things that are kind of holding us bound and kind
Mhm.
of keeps us in these repeated cycles that you were kind of mentioning from a leadership perspective. So I really think that that's good. And then as we just kind of wrap up this particular segment, what is something that you say people need to have longevity to build something that's going to last for the kingdom of God?
I would say in order to build something that's going to last, you got to build on His word.
That's
You have
good.
to build on His word. I know that sounds real simple, but it's true. So if
It's the
you're
truth.
not in your word, what are you building on? Like, what if you want to build something that's going to last? You got to build it on a firm foundation. You got to build on obedience and sacrifice. What are you willing to
Mm,
give up? What are you willing to depart from to build? Because if you're not willing to do that, if you're not willing to say goodbye to some people that you love, because not everyone is going to stay around for the building process. Some people are going to build from the very beginning. When those bricks start to get too heavy, they're going to put down those bricks and go do something else. But you have to remember why you are building. You're not building for them, you're building for God,
yeah.
right? And so you got to realize that sacrifice, obedience, His word, prayer, these things are so important. If you are building on these things, then you will definitely continue to build on a firm foundation and something that it will definitely last and stand the test of time.
When you said, like, that you're building for God, that also allows you to receive those who were in the building season with you that departed,
Yes,
but now that the building season's over and you're now launching in what God has you for, and they spin the block and come back,
yes,
when you realize that it's not you,
yes.
you're building for God, you're able to receive people back and keep no record of wrong,
Mhm.
keep no bitterness or no resentment in your heart. You're able to move forward in a pure place, because I love how you said earlier how He brought you back to your childhood church for the affirmation. When you don't burn those bridges, you never know when God sends someone back, what that's gonna entail and what the connection is gonna look like.
I mention this, I still send tithes and
Wow, that's good.
offerings to both churches that I used to reside in. Why? Because
Come on.
honor
Come
where
on.
I come from.
That's
And
good.
just because I'm building over here and I'm just this global prophet and pastor, I still
Help the
check
people.
in on those leaders and say, "Hey,
Come
how are
on.
you doing? I'm praying for you." And why am I acknowledging? Someone's like, "Why do you feel like you had to acknowledge this?" There's probably someone watching me. Why do you feel like you had to do this? I'm saying this because people need to realize just because God calls you, you never forget where you come from.
Come on. Come
And
on.
even though there are times where you are misunderstood, you give
Yeah.
anyway. You
Yep.
sow anyway. And it's important because again, you're not doing it for them. You are doing it for God.
Unto God. Come on.
And when God tells me to give, when He tells me to sow, when He tells me to go back and do or be a helping hand, I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do that. Regardless of what other people think. People think I'm crazy. You out here building a church and you still, yes, I give to other ministries as well. I
Yep.
have sisters and brothers that are in ministries that are building just like me. Sis, bro, what do you need? What do
Mm.
you need? I'm attending their services. It's
Yep.
not about me. If I know that if there's a service and I'm not preaching, I'm going to support that sister and brother in ministry. We have to do a better job because reality is there is no competition. And we
That's
gotta
it.
stop this. We gotta stop
Yeah.
the I can only listen to my pastor or listen to my prophet. No, that's not true. That's not true at all. If it's not conflicting with my responsibilities and my church is covered and I want to go and support a friend or a family member, I can do that. I can do that.
Yep.
I can do that. It's not going to take away from this other ministry. It's not going to take away from this other organization because we're all kingdom.
Come on. That's
There's
good.
one God. We're all kingdom. We're doing this together. The only competition that anyone has with themselves. That's it. The old you versus the new you. That is the
Come
only
on.
competition that you should have. And it really makes my blood boil sometimes where I see, well, I can only listen to this and this person. And I'm like, well, what if God sends you someone from off the street?
Right. That's true. That's true.
Purposely to speak into you, and it's not your pastor, it's not your prophet, it's not your apostle, it is someone that you don't know or someone that you do know, but it's from the least person you expect. You're gonna not listen to it because it's not your pastor.
Mm.
That's not idolizing. It has to stop. It has to stop. Sometimes, ooh, this is good, I promise to let this go. Sometimes we get so familiar with our leader
Come on. Oh, come on.
and we get so complacent that
Yeah.
God has to send somebody else because He knows that my leader just loves me. But sometimes God sends someone else to confirm that word or
Yeah.
even say something deeper, but we block it out because my leader didn't say that.
Mm-hmm.
I hear someone saying prophet, but how do you know? You will know that it's God by their fruit.
That's it.
So if anyone, people now, they come prophesy to me, I know it's God based on their fruit. And so you know who's out here just, and then you know who is really sent by God. You will know. So we have to stop this. We got to stop this idolizing. It is sickening. And God is coming for it.
Wow. So you said a lot of different things here, but the one piece I want to pick out of what you said was you talked about it earlier. Can you give them some good wisdom on how to understand the difference between an assignment from God and an opportunity that just looks good?
Yeah, I've been asked to be on TV. I have been asked to be on other people's platforms. High name, like big names in the world. You're like, what? And you said no, because just because it's an opportunity doesn't mean it's a God opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to know what an opportunity is from a God opportunity. And you also have to know what season that you're in. So
Mm-hmm.
there's a planting season, there's a harvest season, right? You also have to have a close relationship with Jesus Christ because He is
Yes.
going to tell you, no, not right now. That's too soon. And so anything that God's asking you to do, most of the times, nine times out of 10, you're not going to want to do it. Or it sounds great, but it's overwhelming.
Overwhelming.
And
Yeah.
it's like, that is awesome, God, but how, when, who?
Mm-hmm.
Anything outside of God is going to be forced.
Ooh.
And forcing is not of God. He doesn't even force us to have a relationship with him.
That is so good.
We have this thing called free will, even though some people take advantage of it. We have this
Mhm.
thing called free will. So when you think about that, if it's flowing, I know it's him. Even though building House of Hope, Elevate Her Network was so scary, it was like it was falling into place. People were coming near and far and supporting. People were telling me, I already saw this happening. I already saw it. I was sitting here wondering when it was going to happen. One person told me that's why I waited to get baptized because I wanted you to do it. What? Because God told me that you, Prophet Breanne, were going to baptize me in your church. So I waited. Imagine if I did not build. Imagine the lives. And we have to realize that our yes is tied to someone else's yes. Our breakthrough is tied to someone else's breakthrough. So flowing, how you know it's God, it's going to flow. Watch what I said. It ain't going to always make sense. It's going to
Mhm.
flow. There's a difference between flowing and making sense. It to
Right.
this
Or
day,
being comfortable.
till this day, it don't make sense to me. To this day, I feel like I should be at my old church. If it was up to me, I will still be there. It's not going to always make sense, but it's going to flow. And God is going to move barriers. He's going to move mountains based
Yes.
on your obedience. Obedience is greater than sacrifice. And so you got to remember that my obedience is everything. My obedience
Yeah.
is the key to where I need to be. And so you got to be willing to be obedient. You got to be willing to show up even when no one else is.
Good. Man, so I wanna go deep here. So now that we talked about that, and it was I believe it's 2024 that you closed Breanne Stewart Ministries after about 14 years, right?
Yes.
So that was more than a name change. I believe it also was like a mantle shift as well. So how did you know that the assignment for Breanne Stewart Ministry had ended? And what did the letting go look like in your private space? Like in the times with you and God, what you can share about the times that with you and God preparing you for such a large transition of a
Mhm.
successful ministry for that amount of time.
Yes. Breanne Stewart Ministries was my baby. Breanne Stewart Ministries existed before was even licensed to even minister. Before there was even in no ordination, it was something that before I even had children, it was a ministry that I would go out and I would evangelize and I would do these awesome women empowerment conferences. Before I even had a title to my name, it was Breanne Stewart Ministries.
Mm,
And it was almost like a church in a store, right? But it was something for only a specific time. Breanne
mm,
Stewart Ministries was almost like a training for me to be where I am today. And it was never supposed to last long. And when I stood on that stage, want to say this past May, and I was at one of my awards galas, and I announced that Breanne Stewart Ministries was officially over. Literally, you could hear a penny drop. Like it was just silent. There were tears because people have came to know Jesus. People have, have supported me all this time. And God said, I only called you to build one church, and that's House of Hope. I allowed you to have Breanne Stewart Ministries because it gave me glory. But I never told you to do that. I blessed lives and saved lives. Even out of your disobedience, I still worked. I still moved. But I never told you to build that. You built that in your comfort zone because you
ooh.
don't like titles. And you, Breanne, don't like accountability. Breanne, you don't like anyone telling you what to do. So you went out here and you built this whole ministry of disobedience so you could do whatever you wanted to do. And that's how I know that I've reached a level when you can evaluate yourself and you can repent and say, oh, I was wrong.
Mhm.
And I knew that when I was building House of Hope, Breanne Stewart Ministry started to conflict. And I
Mm.
was just like, God said, you must choose. You must choose. I never like to feel stationed. I'm someone that likes to get on a plane and just go, as the
Mhm.
wind goes and go. And so House of Hope was like, a permanent thing. You know what I'm saying? It's a
Yeah.
lot of responsibility. And as I'm building up other elders and other prophets, and even going to build other locations of House of Hope, this was firm. This was consistency. And so God says, it's time to close this chapter. And so I did. That's one thing about me. I'm going to do what thus says the Lord, period. I don't care what it looks like. I don't care if it looks bad. I am going to do what thus says the Lord, and I'm going to finish it. I'm gonna finish it. So it was 14 beautiful years, but it was not supposed to be that long. It was supposed to be some training ground, and I was supposed to merge in and build House of Hope a long time ago. But I got comfortable. I wanted to do me. I loved the freedom in Breanne Stewart Ministries. I didn't have to answer to nobody. And so I did it for those amount of years. And so I had to repent. I had to say, God, okay, I'm going to let this go. And the moment that I did, Elevate Her Network came.
Mm,
That's one thing about God. He's not going to take something away without replacing it.
mm.
He's
Wow.
Breanne Stewart Ministries was starting to become a business more than ministry.
Mm,
But I've had this business here this whole entire time. I've had this empire for you, waiting for you since you were before you were even conceived into your mother's womb. I knew Elevate Her Network was going to be your empire. But you held on to BSM, but I got something greater. And guess what? By having Elevate Her and House of Hope, those are two distinctive things.
right.
One is a multimedia
Hmm.
television consulting agency. One is a church. And I knew it was God. I knew it was God's move, and I had to move in obedience. It was one of the hardest decisions I ever had to do, but I don't regret it. Not 1 second. And I hope that this helps someone, because someone's sitting right now listening to me. Oh God, I've been doing this for 10 years. I've been in this for 20 years. And God's like, let it go. You've outgrown it. That was
Yeah.
just a training ground to where you are becoming. Let go of it. I got something greater. I got something bigger for you. I think of this image on Facebook or IG. I don't know if you've seen it or anyone else has seen it. And it's Jesus, and he has this big teddy bear behind his back.
Yes.
And then the little girl's holding on to this small teddy bear, right?
Hmm.
That's really how it is.
Wow.
You can take
Right.
this and you can spin it how you want to. We got to stop holding on to things that are no good for us, that we've outgrown, and trust God that He has something better.
That is so good. So you just mentioned you're leading a local church and you're now leading this global women's empowerment platform. And that's a layered assignment. Like you said, it's two distinct platforms that you have.
Mhm.
How do you protect your time, your marriage, your sanity, and still lead with power and clarity? Like,
Really heavy on self care.
hmm.
I put my phone on do not disturb. I literally, with my network, I have, oh my goodness, I have dozens of amazing staff that do the work, and I trust them, and I
That's good.
delegate tasks. I used to try to do it all until I
Hmm.
would ended up in the emergency room. Almost felt like a heart attack, but it was anxiety. And
Mm.
God's like, it will turn into a heart attack if you don't change some things around. And so I had to learn the hard way that I cannot negotiate time for me. When God says rest, I rest. Rest is worship,
Ooh,
because
come on.
when rest is worship, I trust you, God, to rest. I trust you that you're going to handle all of the things, and my children and my husband and the church I'm planting and this global company. I trust you, God, that even if I take these 12 hours of this day, everything's going to be okay. Right?
Right.
Even if some people get upset, I got someone upset with me right now because I want to talk to you, Prophet Brian, right now. I can't talk to you right now. And you have to be willing to be okay with that.
Yeah.
You got to be willing to be okay with that. At one point, I wanted to please everyone. I wanted to make sure that everyone was good. But God says, at the expense of losing your soul, at the expense of
Ooh,
you being in a hospital or something bad happening to you, is it worth it? And
yeah.
so I now look at rest as worship. And so I don't mind resting because it's worship.
Yes.
And
That's
I
so
know that I'm
good.
only given this one body while I'm down here, and it's his
Right.
vessel, and I have to take care of it. And so when my
Oh,
body
wow.
starts to feel like heavy or starts to feel tired, I sleep. There are times where I have to reschedule things, where my
Hmm.
assistants will say, I'm so sorry that Prophet Brain will not be able to meet with you today, or certain opportunities may come that I really want to do it. It's so awesome, but God's like, not right now, because I need you to rest. And I know that if it's something is meant to be, that it's not going to go anywhere after I rest.
Exactly. I love how you said rest is worship. It leads me to something that I saw recently. Are you familiar with Forrest Frank?
Yes.
So he was talking about how when that your way is better, song went viral, though he felt the leading to be pulled away from social media. So while he was not on any social media, he's testifying that that's when that dance went viral. So he came back on social media after resting, finding out his song went viral, and he said, "It's just like the Lord that when we go into rest, and we would think that rest is unproductive.
Yes.
We would think that rest means nothing's getting done. But when God is in it, when God has called you to it, He'll move even in your resting because, like you
Yeah.
said, rest is worship."
Yes.
And it just blessed me so much when he shared that. I was like, who would have thought you think you had to be controlling the algorithm, posting all types of times a day, all these different things to be successful, to get things out there. And here he is resting, not on social media, and got to the height of his career by obeying God in
Yeah.
rest.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was just like, that blessed me so much. When it's God, it will be God. It's Him. It all rides on Him, not on you. And that's why we have to obey Him even in the resting, because He's the one that carries it, and we allow Him to do that through our obedience.
Yeah. Yeah. Mhm.
So I want to kind of highlight this again because I want to make sure I talk about this with you because you have so many different things that God is asking you to do that you're stewarding over. So for the woman that's juggling ministry, business, and family, what boundary or rhythm has been a game changer for you?
So what boundaries? Are you talking about, like,
Yeah,
boundaries?
boundaries or like rhythm in like your schedule and how you do things. How do you manage those things?
I have a core team at my church. I call them core team. There are about 10 individuals that I delegate responsibilities to. And I'm a kind of leader where I don't micromanage. So I do a really great job of training. And once I training, that's it. I come back, report, do what you need to do. And then also, I have certain days that I work, and certain time frames that I work. I don't believe on working on days where God has told me to rest. So if those days, if
Hmm.
certain things don't get done within those days, and the next work day, I'm doing it on those days. And so I'm very big on having a good schedule. My assistant will tell you, Minister Bernita will tell you, if it's something is not on Prophet Brian's agenda, she ain't doing it. Like, she ain't doing it. Like, even if it's a phone call, like, if it's not scheduled and if it's not an
Hmm.
emergency, I'm not doing it. And that has been a game changer for me. Everything is scheduled. And then I leave room for the Holy Spirit to move. And so
Hmm.
I've literally have surrendered my agenda to God. He has created that. I've took some things off of that, and here we are. But if something is not on there, something's not pre-scheduled, I'm not doing it. At one point, people were just piling things on my days, and I would just be really just drained and tired and resentful and like, God, I'm not doing this. But I realized it wasn't that God hasn't called me to do it. I was just tired. I was
Hmm.
exhausted. And sometimes when you are drained and you are exhausted and you're not getting enough rest, then you can't have clarity. Then you start to lack
Mm.
vision. And if you start to lack clarity and vision, then you can't move the way that God will have you to move.
'Cause now you're
And
moving
I
in your
always
own
tell my
strength.
mentees, you got to give something for God to work with.
Hmm.
He's gonna do what he's gonna do, but what are you giving him to work with? Are you giving him a tired vessel?
Mm.
Are you giving him a lazy one? And so you have to have a schedule that you come to the table and say, God, how would you like this week to go? And I do that even down to my content. My content, believe it or not, is pre scheduled. And so there are times where I may respond things later, but all the things are pre scheduled. I have a team, a social media team that schedules, like everything is scheduled. Because if not, yeah, I will be going absolutely crazy,
And
and I
be all
wouldn't do
over the place.
anything. Yeah, all over, and at the end of the day, I'm a mom, I'm a wife, and with anything, my family is everything to me, and so I have to make sure that I'm being present for them, and those are some things I won't negotiate. I will not negotiate time away from my kids.
The non-negotiables.
I've watched people put their children on the back burner, and that is backwards. Your family is your first ministry. You don't want
Amen.
your children and your spouse to resent God because you're out here doing all these things for the church and you're not including them. There was one part of my minister journey that I was doing all these things for the church, but I wasn't including my husband. I wasn't including my children. I was just going, doing what I needed to do. I wasn't praying with my husband. I wasn't praying with my kids. I was like, oh, go ahead, make sure y'all pray. But we weren't praying together. And so for someone that has a lot of kids like me, I got 50, 11 kids, or I've been married for 14 years, you know, and so what is the key? I take them with me. I don't leave them behind. So I'm talking with them. I'm sharing the things that mommy is doing. I'm inviting them. I went to the church yesterday to test our sound for next week. My toddlers were with me, They were like, they had the little snacks, and
Mhm.
sitting there like, "Oh, this is cool." I take them with me, they're not a burden to me, and when you
Mhm.
take your family along the journey, then it's very hard for them to resent the journey,
Yeah,
and you won't
that's
have
good.
this much resistance.
Right. I think that's really good because this is interesting. I was just talking to the Lord about this the other day, and I had a conversation with someone as well. And we were looking at the requirements to become a leader or an elder in the church. And that generally talks about your family, like your house has to be in order and all these different things. And I remember the Lord was speaking to me because I was having a conversation with him about some things that were concerning to me and things I just didn't understand. And he said the requirements to enter into leadership are the bare minimum to maintain it,
Mhm.
the bare minimum. You don't get to elevate it into a position or a place or a role, and then the things that the credentials that allowed you to enter in there, now you just backtrack on all of that. Now you just let your family go, you let everything in your household fall apart. Like it's the minimum requirements because that was what you had to have even to be considered
Mhm.
for the position to
Right.
begin with. And I think sometimes, like you said, people look at it as a burden or like something that's preventing them from doing the things that God has called them to do. But like you're saying, you're incorporating what your family life into the call of God that's on your life, and that sounds like it's letting everything flow together in
Yeah.
harmony.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I love
Right.
doing ministry with my family. I think that's so important, but I have to say it wasn't always this way at all. This is something that
Hmm.
I had to really surrender to God with and say, "God, help me with this because it feels like I'm choosing between you and my family. And I know that you did
Ooh.
not call me to have to make this type of choice. I know there's
Mm.
a better way. So if there's anything that I've done, help me." And what God told me, are you ready for this? He said, "I want you to focus on you. Focus on what you're lacking. Focus on your patience, how you love, and I will take care of your husband. I will take care of your children. Stop forcing them. You focus on you being good, you being obedient, you being encouraging to them, you inviting them. Don't get caught up in your feelings because they don't want to do something. You keep focusing on you, and I will take care of them." Because my prayer used to be, "Well, God will fix them. Fix
Hmm.
them, God."
Come on, help some.
Prayer had to change. God, fix me. Fix my heart, fix my understanding, and that's what had to happen.
That's so good. So, this part that we're in now is going to be the becoming layer. So, out of all the yeses you've given God, which one would you say has stretched you the most to current date?
House of Hope.
House of Hope, explain, expound. How is that the most challenging yet?
Because, like I said before, I have lost so much planting this church for him. I've lost relationships, partnership, money, people that I literally love to this day. They won't even know the capacity how much I love them. Making that decision that was really God's command to me. Now,
Hmm.
this today, to the date, this was the hardest thing I ever had to do. Imagine looking at your spiritual parent and you're telling them, "I can no longer be here. You didn't do anything wrong, but this is what God is telling." It was hard. It was literally, it stretched my faith
Mm.
because there was a lot of people, and even to this day, that were very hurt by it. And this is why I cannot wait for my documentary that's coming out in the spring, that talks about my building journey, and I can't wait
In 2026, spring of 2026?
yes, spring 2026, that it's coming out. It's gonna talk about my building journey, it's gonna talk about all the things that people thought, but this
Mm.
is the realness of what it actually was. It shows, like, footage of me, like, weeping, breaking down, telling God, like, "No." You
Hmm.
know? Even with my like, real close, personal, real intimate moments of, like, wow, I had no idea that she battled like this. And the title of my documentary is Build Like Noah.
Oh,
And
you're doing
it's just, it is raw. And so God's like, yeah, I need you to do a documentary and I need you to really show how this yes really stretched you and how it broke you apart. I even went through a depression. I'm someone that used to have been delivered from it, someone who struggled with depression, anxiety. There was a point where I left the church that I was in and I wanted to commit suicide. And this was not that long ago. This was 2023. We're in 2025. So 2023, I left that church and I said, God, this is the reaction that I'm giving. I want to die. These are your people that are really crucifying me. They're
right.
talking bad about me. They're blocking me. I want to die. I don't want to be here. This is not fair. I have mentees that are leaving. Everyone is thinking this way about me. I don't want to live anymore. And it took having a strong husband that
My
kept
God.
pushing through. Oh, I'm trying not to cry. That kept
Come on.
pushing through that door and saying,
Come on.
I am with you.
Come on.
I know they're against you, but I am with you. Me, your husband, your children. He's like, I need
My
you
God.
to fight. I'm with you. He said, whatever that God
Jesus.
told you to do, we gonna do that.
My
We're gonna
God.
build together. And this is my husband who's not holy and endowed, like,
Yeah.
he's not a bishop or a pastor. This is someone like a husband who loves his wife. Is
Right.
saying, I'm sorry that you're being treated this way. I'm sorry this is what it is. He said, but I'm in here with you. It literally
My
took
God.
him opening up the window, showing me it's a brand new day. It took him my husband laying his hands on me and praying that literally helped me get back to life. It took a
My
lot
God.
of vacations and saying, God, sitting on some sand in some hotels, like, God, take this cup for me because I don't
Jesus.
want it. Everything I've ever known is gone. No one I know has ever built a church. I don't know anyone that's ever built a church. I don't even know what I'm doing. And God had to take that from me. I had to wrestle. There was times where I said, God, I really don't want to live. It's okay. You can take me when I'm sleeping. It's okay. It's okay. You can take me. You can take me because I can't take the judgment. I can't take the words. I can't take it anymore. I want you to take me. Please. There's times where I begged and it took a lot of counseling. It took a lot of therapy. I mean, really hard therapy. It took me forgiving those
Come on.
who mishandled me. It took a lot of forgiveness. And I was able to make peace with it and say, God, okay, you got me. I'm going to do this. But the documentary is going to show all of that. It's going to show all of that. It's going to show the realness of that. And
My
yes,
God.
it has stretched me
That
to
was
the
deep.
capacity and here's the thing, I never wanted it. To this day, every morning, I'm like, God, you sure? You sure you want me to? You sure you want me to do it? Every day. And my prayer is that I wake up one morning and I don't ask him to take it back. Every moment, everyone sees the confidence, everyone sees the boldness, but behind that door, it's like, God, your people acting up again. That they're acting up again and they saying crazy things out their mouths. They end my DMs. I'm getting I get hate mail all the time.
What?
Uh-huh.
Not
Yeah, I get hate people all the time. I have people that wish me terrible things all the time. And to a point where now God is providing even security for me at this point because God is like, you are doing something that the enemy wants to destroy. And so people are going to like that. People love to see you in a place where you're not growing because the fact that you're growing, that exposes where they are and where
Yes.
they have not moved and where they have not shifted. And I've realized ever since I was 3 years old, I have been a mirror to people, a mirror that shows people's reflections that they do not want to see. And a lot of people hate the fact that I had very little, but I did much. God, all I have is $5, but you can have it. All I have, you're talking about someone that had very little, but I did much. I've learned that I don't have the audacity to ask God for anything that I am not willing to do. How can I ask God to do more by me doing less? Can't do that. You can't, it's not ethical, it's not right to do that. But yet we look at people and we idolize people like, God, I want that. But we are not willing to do the work. Here is someone that's willing, who's always been willing. God, I'll do the work. I'll do the work. There's been no shortcut. People ask me all the time, oh, what's the secret? Prayer, fasting,
Mm,
obedience. You must
mm.
have had a huge grant. No, I've actually got turned down many grants. There's no grant that built this. God funded this whole entire thing
Wow.
by tithing, by donations, by his people. And I love me some House of Hope. We may not be 1,000 deep. I think our membership right now is about 40 people, but you would not be able to see, based on tithing, offering, and giving alone, it has supported the whole entire time. I didn't have to go ask, borrow,
Wow. Wow.
take up a big
Wow.
collection plate. It's every service someone is giving. Someone's giving
Wow.
$1,000, 4,000, 50, 100. And these are everyday people that says,
My
I
God.
trust the vision. I didn't have to scam nobody. I didn't have to we didn't hardly even do fundraisers like that.
I'm about to say I haven't seen any.
No, no, no. I know there's a lot of pastors that are out here like, give me cash app. No, that are out here with fancy cars and all the things. Not me, not me. I am the highest paying tither at House of Hope because as a leader, I tithe. I believe in tithing and I tithe other places. And so as leaders, we have to lead from the front. And God has looked upon House of Hope and he has blessed it abundantly above anything I could even imagine or think or even ask for. He's really done that. He has
Yeah.
done that and he has done his big one in my life. People think all different types of things. Oh, her and her husband must be. No, we are ordinary people, but we serve
One
an
thing I can
extraordinary God. But yes, that 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 has been the most stretching, the most hard, still to date, the most hardest thing I ever had to
My
do.
God. Yes. My God. I remember the jewelry and stuff that you were selling and stuff like that, even just how God breathed on that. And then you ended up with your own collection. Now hearing the story behind the scenes of all of those, like you said, public wins. I think this is so important. And I really truly believe this is going to encourage someone that's building behind the scenes. Because behind the scenes, a lot of times it looks like it's not much,
Yeah,
but God is really building you for more. And I believe it's how we handle things behind the scenes that allows us to elevate in public.
yeah.
And just listening through your story and then kind of knowing the timelines of different ventures that I've seen you have over the years, I can see that, okay, you've been counted faithful
Mhm.
in your assignments and even in your obedience from disobedience to obedience, right?
Mhm.
So I think that that is so, man, I think that's so important and so powerful. It's going to help a lot of people. Well, Breanne, this conversation has been full of wisdom, depth, and you've just unpacked a lot of things and went really into the layers. And I know and I believe that what you've shared today is going to help a lot of people, not even just women. I think just people in general are going to be able to receive fruit from this conversation. I know it's ministered to women from leadership and of showing them how to surrender and the cost of it all, right?
Mhm.
You talked a lot about people that covet things and covet callings and anointings and where they see people are. And I have been guilty of that when I was coming up. But then when I started to have to count my own cost, I was like,
Yeah.
wait a minute. Now, when I see people who are anointed, I'm like, okay, wait a minute. That fragrance, I know there's a cost for that. There's something
Uh-huh.
that I can't see that they had to sacrifice in secret
Yeah.
to be able to walk and be trusted with this by the Lord. So before we close, I'd love if you speak directly to the women listening, the one navigating the mantle shift or an unknown season, and whether you feel led to release a prayer or a
Mhm.
prophetic charge.
Mhm.
Would you release what the Lord has
Mhm.
given you for the women of God that are watching, so they can be encouraged to move forward in the next thing for the Lord?
Yes, I actually wrote something down for this because he gave me something specifically for this. So if it's okay, I'm going to read it.
Please.
This is especially for women that are navigating a mantle, a shift into something new or new territory. And I hear God saying, daughter, I hear you, I see you. I acknowledge you, and you are not alone. Do not be afraid or fearful of the ending, for I am the author and the finisher. The chapter you're getting ready to close is not a loss, but it's a gain. It might seem that you're losing a lot, but trust me, daughter, I am going to fulfill every need. What you release will make room for what I will increase in Jesus' name. I believe that God is speaking to the women that are fearful to lead, women that are fearful to speak up. Women that are fearful
Mm.
to build, that God is with you. He's in with you with the trenches, and He's not going to leave you. He's not going to abandon you now. He's not going to allow you to go through everything you went through to leave you now. We don't serve a God like that. We serve a God that's sovereign and just. And we serve a God that is going to do everything that He said that He was going to do. He's going to fulfill every single promise to you. And we just have to be faithful, and we have to be patient and know that your story is not going to look like someone else's story, and you have to be open to change. God has the power to change someone's life today just by your
Yes.
yes. But you have to be open to it. And if you are open, then God can do amazing things in your life. But when you come to Him with resistance
Hmm.
and a wall, He is not going to fight you. He's such a gentleman. Jesus is He will wait just like this. Whenever you're ready. Whenever you're ready, I'm here. And we think that God's going to be like, oh, I told you so. God not like man. God's going to say, welcome home. God's going to say, I love you. God's going to say, it's time. God is going to embrace you. Yes, He's going to hold you accountable, but He's going to do it with love.
Well, thank you again, Breanne. I want you to share how the people can connect with you because you have some things coming out. You said in the spring of 2026, the documentary's coming out. You're preparing to launch the Elevate Her Network, and then House of Hope is having their new home grand opening.
So you can find me on Facebook at Breanne Stewart, and you can look up my organizations on Facebook at House of Hope Community Church, and Elevate Her Network is on Facebook as well. We are currently working on our Instagram for Elevate Her. It's a brand new company. And then our app, our global app, that is
Yes.
going to be almost like a television, a streaming site for all these amazing shows that you get to invite into your home. And that starts in the spring of 2026 as well. And
Okay.
we have Elevate Her conference that's coming up in PA, Lancaster, PA, October 16th and October 18th. And then we have our Elevate Her Awards Gala, where I honor women in ministry and business. That is happening on May the 2026th.
Wow. So she has a lot coming up. Come on. And we heard a lot about her story here. So this is just the pre teaser to what's coming in the documentary because she shared a lot here. So you are in a building season and sometimes we need to see other people that have gone through it. Breanne is pulling back the veil of what's happening behind the scenes. And I think that a lot of times people feel like they can't accomplish things because we see the social media pretty version of everything that looks together. It's all put together. It's been processed. It's been made for the algorithm, and everything looks great. I mean, we don't really see the behind the scenes process,
Mhm.
and that's where the enemy can come in and really discourage a lot of people in that building process.
Yes.
So I really appreciate what God has called her to do as far as pulling back the veil and showing the making and the becoming process of everything that God has given her to steward now in this season. So again, thank you so much,
You're welcome.
Breanne, for being here with us. For our listeners, I pray that you received something from what she said. And just one, even if you just got one nugget that like, this was for me, I listened to this because this was for me, this part right here, hold it close. And if you are in your own mantle shift, know that this is not failing. You're just being refined. Every
Yes.
layer matters, even the ones that you've laid down. And this has been the series called Crowned and Called on Layers of Her. Until next time, we'll go beyond the surface into the layers. God bless you all and have a good day.